Last night, President Donald Trump criticized Democrats for refusing to stand up and applaud after he called for banning gender-affirming surgery for transgender youth. I have a video here from Indisputable with Dr. Richey. So the sparks did fly, and Dr. Richey is doing a comparative analysis between Trump and Obama. Check it out.
You hire a clown to be president of the union address. When you hire a clown to be president of the United States, a clown show you will get. Here it is.
We ended DEI in America. Nobody stands up. These people are crazy. I'm telling you, they're crazy. Oh boy, we're lucky we have a country with people like this. Democrats are destroying our country, but we've stopped it just in the nick of time, didn't we? Isn't that a shame? You should be ashamed of yourself not standing up. You should be ashamed of yourself. That is why I'm also asking you to end deadly sanctuary cities that protect the criminals and enact serious penalties for public officials who block the removal of criminal aliens. In many cases, drug lords, murderers all over our country, they're blocking the removal of these people out of our country, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
What happened to the video here? There's a lot going on. Give me a minute here, ladies and gentlemen. I'll get it back up. All right. Okay, I got Dr. Richey back. Let's play it.
One more video, a few notes right now. DEI. He received a roaring round of applause from an audience of 99% old-ass white men who stood up to applaud the ending of DEI. What is DEI? Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Understand what they are applauding. The end of what they term diversity, equity, and inclusion means to give white individuals, in particular white men, an unfair advantage while disadvantaging others in the workplace, in economics, in higher education, and the list goes on. There was a time when we all universally said diversity, equity, and inclusion is the goal. That's the model. That is your benchmark. That is your moral compass in order to target. We want to be known. We want to engage in equitable practices like being inclusive, engaging based on non-bias, not bias, to give people a fair opportunity. That's what diversity, equity, and inclusion mean. Fairness at the beginning, middle, and end of the day. So they're telling you they are opposed to your ideology of diversity. What is the ideology of diversity? America, the current state of the country, which he was supposed to be addressing in the State of the Union. We are a diverse nation. Let's compare how Trump and President Obama addressed opposing parties. Here it is.
And I commit to every Republican here tonight that I will not only seek out your ideas, I will seek to work with you to make this country stronger.
I look at the Democrats in front of me and I realize there is absolutely nothing I can say to make them happy or to make them stand or smile or applaud. Nothing I can do.
If you share the broad vision I outlined tonight, I ask you to join me in the work at hand. If you disagree with parts of it, I hope you'll at least work with me where you do agree.
These people sitting right here will not clap, will not stand, and certainly will not cheer for these astronomical achievements. They won't do it, no matter what. It's very sad, and it just shouldn't be this way.
Understand, a better politics isn't one where Democrats abandon their agenda or Republicans simply embrace mine. A better politics is one where we appeal to each other's basic decency instead of our basest fears. A better politics is one where we debate without demonizing each other.
We take out the criminals, killers, traffickers, and child predators who are allowed to enter our country under the open border policy of these people, the Democrats, the Biden administration, the open border insane policies that you've allowed to destroy our country.
For all our blind spots and shortcomings, we are a people with the strength and generosity of spirit to bridge divides, to unite in common effort. We are still more than a collection of red states and blue states, and we are the United States of America.
In recent years, our justice system has been turned upside down by radical left lunatics.
Let me call you back, the paparazzi's at my mansion.
Hey, Kian, I'm really starting to get concerned for your needs.
What do you see? You see one man who earned his position as president of the United States by way of hope, unity, working together, moral clarity on policy issues, and decency to work with those who may disagree, because let's face it, it's not the American way. It is the human way. We are all on this journey together. Then you have another individual who has achieved a similar status, meaning being president of the United States, occupying the White House. But he gained his position by stoking fear, by illuminating differences, by articulating bigotry, by making you afraid, by putting fear in the hearts and minds of the gullible. Two very different styles, two very different points of view, two very different methodologies. Effective as they may be, one brings you to a space where you can be proud to leave a legacy to your daughter and your son, your granddaughters, and your grandsons. The other legacy, however, I don't think any decent parent would wish that legacy, the legacy of Trump, MAGA, and cronies. I don't think anyone would consciously wish that kind of legacy on their own children or grandchildren. Hakeem Jeffries, leader for the Democrats, he spoke out. Here is his response.
Just came off the House floor. That State of the Union, so-called State of the Union, was a disaster. Donald Trump believes that the economy has been turned around under his leadership. The economy is a disaster, bro. People are struggling. And you didn't spend any time today providing any vision for how to actually improve the lives of the American people. That was a joke of a speech. And it will do nothing to improve your failing poll numbers. That was worse than Celebrity Apprentice. And the American people are going to strike back in November.
Yeah, let's hope so. And let's also collectively believe that this will be the last time America hires a game show host to be president of the United States. It's an utter disaster. The man has no moral clarity. Put it a full mass. Let's recap some of this, of what Trump actually said during the State of the Union. And keep that up, Jordan. And I want to make this point. For many who are saying this was not a real State of the Union, or he doesn't represent the values of the country that you believe in, or somehow this is not the true union of our state, those are damn lies. This is the State of the Union. This is our current status. This is where we are, who we are, what we are now. And the sooner we can admit that, the quicker we can get out of this mess. We are here. There is no slippery slope. We've been on the slippery slope, and we are now simply on a free fall. Until somebody realizes they have wings and can fly in this atmosphere. And that's you. To recap, Trump said, quote, "Isn't that a shame? You should be ashamed of yourself, not standing up. You should be ashamed of yourself," declared Trump after he regained the floor. Quote, "That is why I'm asking for you to end deadly sanctuary cities that protect the criminals and enact serious penalties for public officials who block the removal of criminal aliens, in many cases, drug lords, murderers, all over our country. They're blocking the removal of these people out of our country, and you should be ashamed of yourself," he continues, speaking over Reps Omar and Talib, who shouted at him from their seats, quote, "You killed Americans. You should be ashamed." And that is correct. They are factually right. Trump is factually incorrect for those of us who still care that he may sometimes tell the truth and lie at other times. He just lies all the time. Let's be clear. Sanctuary cities actually have a lower criminal index among undocumented individuals. Why? Because those cities have a working relationship of trust with local law enforcement. That's why. And they tend to not engage in senseless arrest and deportation of individuals who are not committing any crimes, prioritizing those who actually do. We're talking about anyone. Citizen, non-citizen. Let's move on. Trump also made a declaration that they should be ashamed of themselves because they're protecting these sanctuary cities. And they are the reason why these killers, as he said, are able to.
Tyrone Bowman Live. Check it out. Let's get back to the video. I want you to hear from him, not from me tonight.
The killers are your agency known as ICE, Trump. It's unfortunate that you continue to engage in the protection of the few that serve your agenda while the protection of the masses is what you were elected for. There's more. Earlier, Representative Al Green was escorted out of the chamber after holding up a sign as President Donald Trump entered and began his speech, prompting multiple Republican lawmakers to confront him and attempt to remove the sign. As Trump entered the chamber and started his speech, Green stood up, held up a sign reading, quote, "Black people aren't apes." Sounds like a statement of fact to me. Why would that be offensive to somebody? Why would you need to remove a sign that makes a statement of fact? Black people are not apes. That is truth. But contextualized through the presidency and racism of Donald Trump and his cronies, it becomes a political statement because of their racism, not because of Representative Green, but because of them. House Majority Leader moved in and pulled the sign down, but Green was able to regain a hold of the pullout sign and held it up again after returning to his seat. Senator Mullen, Republican out of Oklahoma, approached Green and attempted to take the sign from him, which triggered a heated verbal altercation. Then Mullen and another senator, Senator Marshall, Republican out of Kansas, positioned themselves between Green and Trump, partially blocking Trump's line of sight as Green remained standing. Green was ultimately escorted out of the chamber by a House Sergeant at Arms staffer. As he exited, he paused inside the chamber and held the sign toward Representative Nels. This is out of Texas, Republican, who reached for the sign in an apparent attempt to remove it before Green was led out. I am sure depriving of property is still illegal. Illegally depriving somebody of their personal property, regardless of the political context, is not acceptable. As a member of Congress, you don't disenfranchise one man or one woman. You attempt to disenfranchise, or they are attempting to disenfranchise, the group they represent, the 300, 400,000 individuals that are in their districts. There's more. House Speaker Mike Johnson told Newsmax that he could have ejected several Democrats during President Donald Trump's State of the Union address, but ultimately decided not to, so their shameful display could be witnessed by the American people. Isn't it ironic?
You know, this pathetic House Speaker Johnson, he calls himself a Christian. Well, of course, they all call themselves Christians. Lying, cheating, stealing, destroying people's lives, but yet they call themselves Christians. They call themselves Christians and they deny hungry people a place to live, and a place to sleep, and a place to eat, but they call themselves Christians. They call themselves Christians and they go along with everything that is wrong and won't speak up for what is right. If I recall correctly from studying scripture, Jesus was not crucified for going along with the Sanhedrin or the Pharisaic council. He was diametrically opposed to their hypocrisy. And they broke over 300 laws in one night in order to crucify the Messiah. America, you better wake up, because the day of reckoning is coming. You so-called conservative Christians, evangelical Christians, you sit back and you won't speak up and say one word, but you got something to say against every black person. You're going to answer for all the stuff that you did. Trump could have never come into power if it hadn't been for these racist, bigoted, evangelical millionaire preachers. Yes, I said it. They're the ones that put him there. And they're proud of it. And then they got a nerve to continue to send out those worthless stock letters in the mail begging black folk for money to support their billionaire lifestyle. You'll never meet them. They don't care nothing about you or your families. But you all keep sending them your money.
This picture up. He's pointing to Democratic lawmakers saying that they are out of line, while the guy he's standing up for and carries the water for and bends over in places where the spine does not allow for, his guy is totally deranged. But he stands up and applauds. Meanwhile, CBS News raved about President Donald Trump's State of the Union address Tuesday night. One of the spokespeople, Dukapu, calling it, quote, extraordinary. Quote, the first State of the Union address of Donald Trump's second term is in the books. It was an extraordinary speech, the longest to a joint session in history, the longest State of the Union in history. In some ways, vintage Trump, combative, populist, historic for other reasons as well. Yeah, the fact it was horrible. This racist, despicable, bogus, bigoted, non-coherent, not understandable, disrespectful. It should be no surprise considering Paramount CEO David Ellison, which now owns CBS News, obviously, was at the State of the Union as a guest of Lindsey Graham. Okay, that's why they're doing it. I get it. It's the chick.
They're doing it because major negotiations are coming up. They're doing it because they want to be able to keep their license. They're doing it because they want to curry favor. They're doing it because they want the money. That's why they're doing it. CBS used to be a decent corporation to watch. Now they're just as dirty and rotten and corrupt as the rest of them.
Must have cleared. Shame. And this is why it's important to engage in information and resources that are independently sourced, like Indisputable, like the Damage Report, like the Main Show, like the Young Turks, and other spaces outside of this. You don't have to get all your news here. But you damn sure can't listen to these guys in mainstream media anymore. They are telling you out front who they are, what they are, and how they are willing to lie to you. All right, dear brother, thoughts here. Oh, come on.
That's powerful. I'm going to leave it right there, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Richey, speaking it, telling it the way it is. Never surrender.